Your online meetings are your number one way today to communicate your thoughts, your ideas, your direction, yes, even the vision and intention of your organization. Maybe your message, your products, your services, internally or externally. You don't want to mess this up. So what I want to give you now are seven steps to speak like a pro in your online meetings. And joining me through this process are actual professional speakers who, Dennis, raise your hand. Dennis is going to be on stage virtually for 3 hours on Saturday. Thumbs up, Dennis, right? 3 hours speaking to a group about a topic that's not just cool, but absolutely essential. And it's not just going to cover one area, but it's going to cover an entire balance of life. And I'll tell you, whether it's corporate, whether it's individual, whether it's content he's producing, some for free, some paid, this medium is absolutely critical. So let me give you the 7 steps to be an absolute pro in your online meetings. Number 1, I want you to only speak about subjects you know. So that's step 1. Make sure that you know the subject. If you don't know the subject, you have a couple of options. Number 1, you might want to do some research on that topic. And could you become a speaker on that topic? Sure. Could you cover it in a meeting? Yeah. But you're going to be best suited talking about things that you know. The stress, the anxiety, the what ifs, they all go away. In fact, they never appear when you're talking about things you've mastered, things you like, things that you know backwards and forwards, things you don't need a script for. So if you just first pick the right topics, you're going to be in a much, much better shape right off the bat. Now, because you know these things so well, step 2 is going to be to break them down. You know them, you can talk about them, but you're going to need to break it down. And I'm going to suggest that you break it down into 3 steps. What's a beginning, middle, and an end? See, 3s are things that people can consume, they can understand, they can learn, they can even go implement if needed. So break your topic that you know so well down into 3 things that you want to teach and or transfer. If you try to give them everything through a fire hose, they will not be able to handle it. They won't comprehend it. A confused mind does not take action. An overwhelmed mind does not take action. So if you're giving too much, which is tough to figure out because, again, you know this topic so well, but you're thinking you're delivering great value, but yet when it comes to the next step, which is determining your call to action, if they have too much here, they won't know what you expect from them next, and they'll be shut down. Step 3 is to determine a call to action. What's the result? What do you want them to do, be, or have at the end of this online meeting? Is there specific action you need them to take? Is there something you need them to do? Something you need to think about, design, and work into your online meeting? What is the takeaway? What's the call to action? What do you want to have happen? Once you have the 3 things broken down and you've determined the ending, you now just need to add an intro. And I know some of you are thinking about this. Well, you're making this a little simple there. What do you mean add an intro? Well, this intro, regardless of what you're talking about, you can't just jump right into the subject and the 3 areas. You have to tell them how this is going to connect and how this is going to fit and why this is going to make a difference. In copy and marketing, we call that a hook. But in online presentations, online meetings, particularly internal online meetings, this part is skipped all the time. This is the frame. These are the lenses through which your audience will connect to your content. And if you don't give them a reason why they need to pay attention, other than the fact that you're paying them or that they paid to be there, either way, other than that, you need to give them a reason to watch, a reason to pay attention, and a reason to take some notes because they know how this is going to apply to them. Add an intro. Step 5, I want you to practice your talk over and over. This is not going to be, Dennis is going 3 hours, guys. Dennis is a pro. Dennis is not going to rehearse every word 3 hours, but he will rehearse certain parts. He will go over exactly what he wants to cover. And he's been doing this for a very long time, so he already has mastery of these concepts. But if you're doing something for the first time or the second time or the 20th time, I want you to practice, but not just practice. Let me show you how I practice. I practice by talking to my kids. That's my target audience. You might be thinking, what do you mean that's your target audience, talking to your kids? Well, if my 13-year-old, my 11-year-old, my 7-year-old can understand it, I got a shot at the 47-year-old, the 21-year-old, and the 35-year-old understanding it too. But if I shoot too high, too far, too fast, too furious, too big of words, too big of concepts, I don't break it down, and a child can't understand it, an audience won't be able to understand it. And if they can't understand it, they're going to give you the nod or the polite kind of paying attention, but in their mind, their eyes are closed, their mind is closed, they're not able to follow. If you simplify the way you choose to present your ideas, they will be received at a much higher level. Later on, once they have bought into these three things, they see how it implements, they've taken your call to action, then you can add more detail, you can go in depth, you can add the terms, add the layers you need. But in the beginning, this has to be embraceable by everyone in that audience. And unless your entire audience is made up just of PhDs or just scholars or just astronauts or whatever the lawyers, whatever the high end. But you know what? Even in those audiences, those concepts of being able to explain it simply to a child will still be effective. Now we're on to, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on to 6. 6 is the repetition. And it's the frequency. If you're going to do something and it's going to take about 20 minutes, or you have 20 minutes, I want you to practice it for 10. And what is 10 minutes a day going to cost you? 10 minutes a day to just do your talk. Record it on your phone. Just record the audio. Go through the steps. Speak it out loud. Say it in the car. The repetition, the frequency in the practice beforehand will give you the confidence and give you the deliverability of this message you need when you go live. If you go live and it's the first time you've done it, you're asking for failure. But if you've gone through it in your head, you've talked it out loud, you've gone through the steps over and over and over, you'll likely to nail it. But the reason I'm telling you to aim for 10 minutes when you're talking by yourself is an audience will add at least double the time. Maybe if you're a fast talker in front of an audience, it'll be a third of the time added. But at least practice for half, and you'll be close to not running over. And I'll tell you what, an audience, give me a thumbs up here. If you think an audience would rather you give them some of their time back versus you running over. Who thinks an audience would be okay if you covered everything and gave them 5 minutes of their life back, that would be preferable? Yeah? Versus going over, because you never know what commitments they have on the other side. If you said it was going to be an hour and you take an hour and a half, you're going to lose some people out of that audience, especially virtually, who have something going on, have to go to the next thing, can't be there the whole time. So you want to make sure that if you're going to have to run over, that you apologize and ask permission. But in a lot of cases, these meetings are timed. You're not going to be able to go over. So practice for half the time. Get that repetition frequency. Now the last one. The last one may seem like a disconnect. It may seem like it has nothing to do with it. But I want you to write. If you will spend some time writing your key points, writing your transitions, writing your topics, actually putting pen to paper or fingers to keyboard, you're going to see all the extra words. You're going to see all the extra ways it can be said. You're going to be able to work through and rearrange your thoughts and your ideas. So as you do the repetition and frequency, if you start writing out parts that you're struggling with, you'll see it come together. Some of the best speakers are also pretty diligent writers. They might not be poets. They might not be writing book after book after book. But if you can take your ideas, if you can go through this where you know the subject, you can break it down into 3 steps. You can deliver a call to action. You can add an intro to those 2 pieces. You can practice like you're talking to your kids, and you have the repetition and frequency down and the writing to tweak, tie, and improve as you go. You will be a pro in absolutely no time. Pros like you see on the screen and beyond in online meetings, whether it's Zoom, Teams, could be Skype, could be WebEx, could be StreamYard, Restream, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and beyond, these 7 steps will take you to a pro level, communicating to your group internally or externally, driving your influence, and delivering a call to action of transformation. Hope you found this video helpful. If you want topics like this or have a question on any one of these that you went through, drop them in the comments. We'll be sure to answer them. And if you like content like this, let us know that as well. We'll make more. Take care.